Hello! You can call me Mai. This is my first YouTube video with my voice in it. I've made TikToks before, but a longer video like this is a first for me, so I apologize if I'm a little awkward. Today, I want to talk about Art Fight! In August! More than half into August! I know, I am very late to make a video on Art Fight for this year, but this was my first time participating in Art Fight, and I just had so much fun and wanted to show off these amazing OCs people have created. So here I am, with earphones plugged into my laptop as my microphone, to talk about some art. Into the first speed paint! For my first attack, I chose Kumiko, created by Nellatonin. Nellatonin was my first follower on Art Fight, and I wanted to make sure I give them my first attack. I just love this positive energy Kumiko has and needed to draw her. I think a point where I could improve is the stiff body and pose. I didn't want to push myself too much with the first attack, but I think I could have made her look a little bit more fluid. My favorite part of this drawing, though, are the arms and hair. I think they turned out very nicely, especially the hair. I think it captures Kumiko's silhouette very well. I am also satisfied with her hat. I struggle with hats looking like they're actually being worn instead of just placed on top of a head. But with Kumiko, I think I was able to make the hat look like it's actually hugging her head. Thank you to Nellatonin for the follow, and thank you for the adorable Kumiko. My next attack was Eiri, created by Lukkalukka. Eiri just has such a captivating design, and when I learned she's an utau, I knew I was destined to draw her. I just had to draw her. I kind of wish I had stuck with my first idea of doing a dramatic top-down perspective. It would have been a lot more interesting. Unfortunately, I chickened out. However, I love how the general face area turned out. I think it looks very alien-like in a cutesy way, especially her eyes. Also, this color palette is top tier, beautiful greens all over the place. I'm hoping Eiri's voice bank gets completed soon and we'll be hearing her voice in the top Vocaloid charts one day. Thank you, Lukkalukka, for Eiri's amazing design. Next up, we have Rose, created by JelloFangy. JelloFangy has an amazing portfolio on their Art Fight account. It's so pleasing to look at, and each one of their designs are so creative and fun. I picked Rose in particular because I just can't resist a pink girly. A point I can improve with is her eyes, specifically with making her look into the so-called camera. She's slightly looking off into the side, and I just think it's a little awkward. My favorite parts of the drawing are the hair and her lips. I think her hair kind of looks like a bouquet of roses, like the character's name. It's just so much volume, it's very nice. And her lips turned out very cute. Sometimes my lips look smudged or flat, but here I think they look like real lips. Thank you, JelloFangy, for the gorgeous, gorgeous Rose. My fourth attack was Bagels by my-MaE-me. my-MaE-me is actually my IRL friend, and we realized we're both participating in Art Fight for the first time, and it became a race to who attacks the other person first. I won, by the way. My drawing of Bagels is perfect. No notes. Jokes aside, the shading of the hair looks a little flat. I think it's the soft airbrushed highlights that makes the head look like a shiny orb instead of hair. I should have went with a more cel-shaded look instead. But I love the pose I chose. It's very silly and fun. I also love how the face turned out. Unlike the hair, I think it looks quite dimensional, and I'm proud of my little drool details. Such a crucial point of character design. Every character should have a little drool. Thank you, my-MaE-me, for the fun and cute bagels. The next OC is Josslyn by JJxDrawing. Josslyn was so much fun to draw. She's so pretty, and I just couldn't resist the urge to draw her that I completed this drawing in one sitting. That's something I struggle to do a lot nowadays. This is something I realized only after I posted the art, but Josslyn has freckles all over her body, yet I drew them far too faintly because I was too zoomed into the canvas while drawing them. I should have chosen a darker shade for her freckles. However, I think her skirt lays on her lifted leg so well, something I know I couldn't do a few years ago, so I'm very proud of that. I'm also very proud of her two-toned lips. I think I shaded them very well, and I'm surprised how it actually looks like she's wearing lip gloss. Thank you, JJxDrawing, for the amazing Josslyn. Up next is Lialuna from Cosmeows. I was actually on a trip while drawing Lialuna, so I was very on and off while drawing her, but that also meant I super focused on every detail while drawing her. This turned out to be my first polished drawing for this year's art fight. Straight into it, I really struggled drawing her chest area. I just could not get the perspective right and couldn't figure out where her boobs are supposed to be in this pose. I just had to settle with what I could do at the end. But her hair, I so mastered the hair from the lining to the shading. I am very satisfied with how the hair turned out. I think it very much looks like braided hair. To address the missing shoes though, after I struggled with the chest, I just did not have it in me to draw the shoes. I knew I would struggle with them. But I think her feet look like actual feet, even in socks, like they look real. Thank you Cosmeows for the beautiful Lialuna. My 7th attack was Yukko, created by Vashiekyun. As you can see, I tried to do a composition showing off Yukko's wings, inspired by a specific card from the game Project Sekai, but then I quickly realized I just can't draw wings. Vashiekyun's wings are literally perfect. A point where I could improve on, I think his head turned out to look rounder than his reference due to the angle. I should practice drawing longer faces from a higher angle to stay true to the character. My favorite part though is his facial expression. I wanted to give him this sleepy, droopy vibe, and I think the eyes and pose really conveys that. I'm also very proud of how I figured out how to make his halo shine. It was a lot of trial and error that I think ended with success. Thank you Vashiekyun for the lovely Yukko. The next character is from Kiibelykim. This character set off my bipenic so hard that I had to draw her. I personally love the skirt on top of pants combination, but can't pull it off myself, so I'm giving it to this hot character. My adventurous attempt for this drawing were the final colorful effects I added at the end, and I don't think it turned out the way I wanted it to. I envisioned her on a stage with bright lights behind her, but I don't know how to create that scene just yet. Definitely something I'll be working on more. Besides that, I'm very satisfied with the drawing itself, especially the outfit. I want to dress like this in real life. Especially the area where her belt is exposed, I like how it looks like the clothes actually have weight there. Thank you Kiibelykim for the wonderful character design. My 9th attack was the Strategizer from Bagels. As you can tell so far, I mainly stick to human and human-like characters. Animals are not something that I'm used to drawing. So when I asked my boyfriend, who should I draw next? Of course, he chose the only non-human shaped character in my bookmarks. Other than the animal aspect, I also struggle with hardware and generally objects that are made of hard materials. So the perspective of the Strategizer's gear she's wearing is very off. I noticed this while lining the armor, but I didn't know how to fix it. However, I love her ears and her little paws. I think they came out unexpectedly so good. She's very cute. I also like the glowy effect I added at the end. Thank you, Bagels, for the adorable Strategizer. The next OC is Erika, created by Erihearts. This was when I began to run out of characters I had bookmarked and started looking at new characters being posted for inspiration. And I just loved the short black bob and goggles Erika wears. It adds such a cool touch. A point to improve on for this drawing is definitely her mouth. Perspective-wise, it's lopsided on her face, and this is an example of that smudged lip look that I mentioned earlier. But the main point to improve on is being mindful of the tilt of the head when placing facial features. But I do love the way I drew her hair, and I'm very happy about it since it was the aspect from the character design that I first fell in love with. It's so swooshy in a cool way, and I think I kept the shape of her bob from her reference quite well into my own style. Thank you, Erihearts, for the very cool Erika. Up next, we have Grey from GreyBubbles. This is technically a revenge piece because GreyBubbles drew my OC Ayana in a mass attack, but I forgot to make it a revenge when I posted it. As you can see, I struggled with finding the right pose and eventually went to Google to look for some pose references. I only realized how similar my pose was to the reference halfway through the drawing. If I had a second attempt, I would try to give Grey a different pose to spice things up. My favorite part of the drawing is the shoes. An adult once told me I suck at drawing shoes when I was probably around 11 years old, so it took me a long time to even attempt drawing anything but slippers. So I am always very proud when I can draw shoes that actually look like shoes. Thank you, GreyBubbles, for the awesome Grey. The next character is Shiki from Ichigokaibyou, another character design I instantly fell in love with. Shiki looks so cool and her punk outfit is so adorable. As soon as I saw she was a tsundere, I immediately thought of this pose and had to draw her ASAP. The part I struggled with was her twin tails. I actually always struggled with big spiky anime hair, and Shiki's hairstyle is definitely a type of style that I've always had trouble with. Ironic, since my art style is so heavily influenced by anime. However, I love how the rest of her hair came out. I drew her side bangs very funky, and I think it helps balance out the weird shapes of her twin tails. I also am very satisfied with her eyes. They're very big and anime. Overall, the finished drawing reminds me of 2000s anime art. I love it. Thank you to Ichigokaibyou for the extra cute Shiki. Next, I drew Nova, created by Dibujito. Nova is a space captain, and I couldn't resist drawing her with my OC Dominique, an alien. The boob struggles strike again. I definitely drew Nova's chest way smaller than her reference and in proportion to the rest of her body, but I only realized this near the end and couldn't really change it at that point. I also wish I added better highlights to her hair. I've never drawn jumbo twists before, and while they don't look the best, I'm sad I made most of the details hard to see with the coloring. While they're hard to see, I still really like how I drew her hair. The textures were very fun to figure out and draw, and it was just a new experience. Nova really reminded me why it's so much fun to draw other people's OCs. Thank you, Dibujito, for the amazing Captain Nova. The next attack was Azure, created by ThalsTheDinosaur. ThalsTheDinosaur has such an adorable art style, and their character designs are so cute and perfect. I saw Male Girl in Azure's tags and immediately wanted to draw her dramatically holding mail. While I was able to finally draw that dramatic top-down perspective, I do think I could improve on it even more by making her upper body bigger and feet and lower half smaller. This drawing sort of revolutionized the way I draw hands. I love how they turned out, and I haven't been able to stop drawing hands like this since. They look so much like hands and fit so well with my art style. I've been experimenting on different types of hands with this style, and I'm having a lot of fun. Thank you, ThalsTheDinosaur, for the very cute Azure. Finally, my last attack of the year, Lorelei from Jbnatsumi. With a few extra days, I was able to pick one more character to draw, and I just loved how soft and pretty Jbnatsumi's Lorelei was. A point to improve on for this drawing would probably be the hair. I wanted to make it big and fluid, but I think it ended up looking more chaotic than I intended. I should have tried to draw a more recognizable curl pattern for Lorelei's curly hair. My favorite part of the drawing is her shoes and knees. As I've said before, I'm always so proud when I can draw shoes that look like shoes, and her knees just look very pretty here. It's hard to explain, but the slight angles in the lining of the knees just really shout, knees! Thank you, Jbnatsumi, for the beautiful Lorelei. And that's the end of all the speed paints. I was able to do a total of 15 attacks this year, which is so much more than I thought I'd be able to do, and I received a total of 10 attacks, which was even more surprising since I was fully prepared to get none at all. Here are all the characters and artists from this video in order. Thank you to each and every person that made my first art fight so memorable and enjoyable. All of you were so kind, and your OCs are all amazing. And thank you for watching this video all the way through. As I said, this was my first time making a proper YouTube video with my voice in it, and I'm sure there are a lot of points I can improve on. Hope to make more videos like this in the future. Bye-bye!